Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Walk out to the edge, sister, and fucking jump. Walk out to the edge and jump. In order to feel fully alive, like fully alive, it will require that you walk out to that edge and fucking jump. So what the hell does that mean? Oh my God, Karen, you're so like cryptic and mysterious this morning. Like, give me some context here. Okay, let me give you some context right away. So today, when I was at my boxing gym, I was sparring with, her name is Jewel. She is 18. I'm 48. Isn't that fucked up? Actually, it's not fucked up. It's, it's humbling. It's, the girl could be my daughter, right? She's a great girl. And this is just the third time I've been sparring. So I've been training with my trainer, Rob. Shout out to Victoria Martial Arts. Rob is amazing. Appreciate him so much. And so there's one thing to like hit a heavy bag and to get your, conditioning up and to skip and to hit mitts and to do combinations and all of this and learn how to block and duck and roll. It's a totally other story to jump into the ring and do it with an opponent. No one's holding up telling you which punches to throw. You got to figure it out, right? So this time with Jewel, this is my third time actually ever sparring outside of sparring with Rob. It was a little difficult because he's like a guy and he's taller and he's long arms and kickboxer and So the second time Jewel and I sparred today. And it was awesome. It's like it was the last time. My first time in sparring was a more interesting experience, but second and third times, amazing. And, we'll kind of warm up first and hit the bag a little bit and do mitts, and we'll actually do rounds. And Rob will be there and kind of directing us, and you're sparring, right? So it's not like to take her out. And the purpose of that is, good morning, is to really, really learn from each other. You honor each other. You don't really hold anything back. But yet, you're not like in there to like kill each other, right? You're there to really learn and to have some experience and to have inexperience. And Jewel has been training more than me, and she's been in tournaments and had more experience. It doesn't matter about age, it's just simply that, right? But one thing that's obviously very different from her and I is age and life experience. And so I was talking to Jewel afterwards. There's a tournament that I'm doing in the fall, which is called B Tournament, and Jewel's doing the one in June. So I was talking to her afterwards, and she's like, well, I'll kind of see. My family and I are going to Disneyland for a little bit, and when I come back, I'll kind of see. I don't know if I'm really ready stuff. And I was like, Jewel, you should just do it, honey. Like, just do it. I go, listen, there's never a time where you're ever ready with anything in life. Like, all the stars align, everything's perfect, and really kind of, my purpose was just to have her see a different possibility. But for Jewel, that edge was like, I'm going to go in a tournament where maybe I don't feel fully prepared. And I was like, you should just do it. It's an experience. Like, it's not a fight, it's a tournament. 2-minute round. If you win that round, you progress to the next, and you kind of keep going, right? And it's like, that's it, I'm going to do it, right? Now, for me, my edge is sparring. It's still sparring, right? That, like, especially the first time where I went, I could just, like, what the hell am I doing? And I ran the whole age thing. The other girl I was sparring with before, too, she's also young. I think she's, like, in her early 20s, so still doing the thing of, like, or to the other side of, like, well, I'll show you, youngster. This late 40s bitch is not going to lie down. And my edge for me is actually getting hit when we spar. Now, we've headgear on and headgear, mouth gear. But you still feel stuff, right? So the first time that I get punched in the face when we're sparring, it's like this feeling of like all my senses being heightened. I remember when we were sparring last time and I got hit and I kind of laughed, but it was this laugh. I said, it's kind of like this. You know how in the movie when the bad guy gets like punched in the face for something and he takes that hit or whatever and he's bleeding and he spits out a tooth and he has this grin on his face, which almost says like, bring it on. Is that all you got? It's the feeling I have when I get hit in the face now. And it was something I was very fearful of. It's one of the reasons I actually decided to box and decided to fight, because the thought of getting punched in the face freaked me out. Scared the shit out of me. That was my edge. And now it's kind of moving more and more. I also did a boudoir shoot for the first time 8 years ago. Oh my God, that was the edge. And I fucking jumped off of that and went, oh my God, it was right before I turned 40. And I was like, I don't know. And this girly stuff and lingerie, like, ugh. Talked about my last podcast, and this was now boudoir shoot number 3 that I just did a few weeks ago. But that edge, sister, that is where living happens. That is it. That is it. Now, you don't have to go to the extremes of getting punched in the face in order for that to happen, you know, or a boudoir shoot. However, I don't think that's an extreme. I think that's something that's an incredible experience for every woman to experience, to really recognize her beauty and sexiness. But that edge for you can be something different. It can be the job that you want to apply for. It can be the conversation with your husband saying, hey, like, this is really what I need. This is what I'm feeling. Can we have a powerful agreement and really bring our marriage to that next level? That edge can be that conversation with your kids of you know what? Mommy doesn't feel like I'm connecting with you anymore. So I really want to know, how do you think I'm doing as your mom? And getting that feedback, that could be your edge. Your edge could be pushing your body physically to do something that you think is not possible. For me, fighting in October, I'll be, I guess, actually closer to 48 and a half at that point. I mean, that seems kind of a little bit crazy to me at times. I still, if my logical left side brain thinks about it, it's like, what am I doing this for? And then it's like, no, I'm committed. I'm committed. Because I know that taking myself to that edge and fucking jumping, even when I don't feel ready, even when I don't know how it's going to happen, even when I don't have everything figured out, is the way to feel fully alive. That is it. That is it. 2 weeks ago, my husband and I had 2 nights in Vancouver. We live in Victoria, which is actually considered Vancouver Island. It sounds a little bit confusing. But it's across the ocean from Vancouver. It's about an hour and 3/4 ferry ride, maybe, half hour or so flight. And we found out you can actually take a helicopter. We're like, what? So we did it. We felt like rock stars and it was unbelievable. The edge. And as we got we're sitting there and we're waiting for this helijet thing and we're like, oh my God, actually I've never really thought about it. Is this gonna be scary? Fucking hell, I've never been in a helicopter before. And it was exhilarating, it was amazing. And if it was scary, that would have been great too. The edge for my son right now is learning how to ride his bike. And he's doing better, and he pushes himself. And he goes past that threshold, that place that's scary, and you don't know, and you feel uncertain, and you feel resistance pushing back on you. It's that edge where you feel fully alive, sister. Every day, I'm gonna have you consider taking yourself to that edge and fucking jumping, and whatever that means and however that you define that. So here's your more tip for today. Where is an edge right now that you've gotten to, and you get to the edge and you go, that looks like a long way down. I'm not doing that. I'm not ready. Let me do some more research first. Let me figure out how. Let me take an online course. Let me listen to more Karen's podcasts. What is that edge that you've come to in your life where you are not jumping? You're stopping. You're shrinking, you're contracting, you're holding back. What is that, and where is that in your life? And here we go. You know how I love action. Step number 2, this more tips today. What is one action step you can take today to push yourself off that fucking edge? There's one action step you can take today or now to push yourself off that edge. I know for me, the first time that I considered doing a boudoir shoot with my good friend Jen, and she was beginning boudoir at that point, like to book the appointment, to go, here's my deposit, like that was the edge for me. I'm like, okay, I'm committed now. I mean, I guess I could not show up, but I mean, you know, that was my edge. That was an action step that I could take on that scary thing, that edge. So what's one action step you can take today, sister? And I'll tell you what, there's some of you that have heard me talking about Women Wanting More Live, which, let's see, by the time this episode comes out, will be less than 2 weeks away. And this is an edge for you. You're like, oh, I really want to go, but I'm on the East Coast, but who's going to watch the kids? But I'm not ready yet, but I don't have the money. This is an edge for you right now. Just so you know, of all these excuses and resistance has popped up for you, but yet, every time I mention this, you still were just like, oh, fuck, if only, or how could I? This is your edge, sister. Because check this out, right now, because you're listening to this podcast, when you go to this link, drkarenosborne.com/live, L-I-V-E, your ticket is on me. It's complimentary. Free. So all you gotta do is get your gas here to Victoria, BC, Canada. I know you've done hard shit in your life. This is no different. This is the edge, and I promise you, the 50 women that will be there in front of me on Saturday, June the 10th in Victoria, BC, Canada, I will bring everything to help you step over that edge for you, to give you the tools, for you to gain some clarity on what that edge is for you. Because this is a life of more, sister. This is living life fully. Edge, jumping. What the fuck am I doing? You figure it out. You figure it out. So that's over at drkarenosborne.com/live, L-I-V-E. So I will talk the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.